For the first time in forever, it feels like EA are listening to the community and trying to create a game that the fans truly want. The voice of the people has fallen on deaf ears for far too long, and although it sounds crazy, it is finally a relief that EA are marketing around the fact that they are actually listening to the players. But for decades, this just hasn't been the case, and that means some seriously good features have ended up by the wayside. So this is a list of 10 things EA have changed that has made their game worse. And number 1 is the removal of sponsorship deals, and this was in the game as far back as FIFA 06. 20 years ago, we had this feature in the game. You had the option to take a sponsorship deal. You had requirements and expectations through that deal, and it granted you money to be able to spend. I mean, does that not sound more in depth than anything we have right now? And it feels like there's some level of involvement with the board. Like, where has that all gone? Why is that not important? I just can't tell you. But this is really frustrating that at this point in 2025, we don't have a game as in-depth as that, and it's just a small feature that they've taken away that has definitely made career mode worse, and would be better if it was implemented once again. But moving on to the second thing EA have done to make their game worse off is when they've removed the ability to adjust player positions. I get they wanted to introduce their new flashy FC IQ, but really, to be honest, that system just currently sucks. It's so bad. I can't understand who is making the decisions behind that, because all it is a facelift of the old version, and there's less features involved. I mean, I should be able to create an asymmetric 3-5-2, or Pep's next Mind Baby that he will inevitably come out with midway through next season, where Haaland and Foden are operating as wingbacks. All they've done is change the name of the roles from getting behind to advance forward, and then remove one of the best features of the old tactics system. I just can't look at this and understand the choices behind it. It is seriously odd. Bring that back. Let us just tweak our cam to be a little bit higher up if we want, or create an entire new formation and system that just revolutionizes football. Like, there's no loss from doing that. It's really frustrating. EA are just limiting it at this point. They should be doing so much better in this area. This is actually a real shame. Now, point 3 is a little bit different though. It's another area that EA have fumbled, but it doesn't affect the actual mechanics of the game. And that comes around early September of each year. And that's when EA drop the new soundtrack. And in recent years, it has lacked so much of that spice that previous years used to have. There are so many videos and shorts on YouTube about the best songs in FIFA, and the audience is always there for it. There have been so many bangers over the years, and they seem to just move away from these unknown indie titles, and the soundtrack is shocking because of it. It wouldn't matter too much if the soundtrack still slapped, but it doesn't. Bring back the old aux controller, because whoever it was, that person was an absolute legend. We need them back. But moving on to point 4, and that is moving on to a game mode that wasn't with us for long, but between FIFA 17 through to FIFA 19, we had the trilogy, the journey, Alex Hunter and co on this incredible player career, storylines, the social media, the hype, the gameplay, all of it was just interesting, fresh and new, but it never came back. And if it's not back by now, it's probably never coming back, which to me isn't a massive problem. It's okay that the journey was just a trilogy. It was its own thing. It happened. It was fun whilst it lasted. But what is not okay, in my opinion, is how much extra work went into the journey. And then even though that's now decommissioned and out of use, they're not using those things to make a more full and enjoyable player career experience. I mean, player career is so weak right now. There is just not a lot of things that keep a player engaged and have someone really enjoy that journey. But if you had the social media, the cutscenes, the decision making, the fights between players, the rivalries, so many things from that experience in the journey in your player career, it would make it so much more enriched and developed and actually be a mode that so many people would be more interested in sinking their time into. But sadly, they choose not to. They choose to make it the easy way, which is the terrible way. And that means unless there's serious change in the player career, that might die off at some point when it really doesn't need to. But going into point 5, and this is something I used to utilize a lot. I was always on the internet trying to just get the best out of this area. And that is the Creation Center and Game Face. And I can't believe that these things no longer exist. I would love to see it back, that you could bring in a game face, bring your face into the world, or a character, whatever you want. Get a 3D scan, put it onto your pro, and you can play pro clubs, player career, things like that, just to make it that little bit more personalized. And I can't believe that doesn't exist, considering we had that around FIFA 12, 13, maybe even 14. I don't know what EA decided with that one and why it was just decommissioned in the end, but there are a lot of benefits to it. The Creation Center also had a lot of options about making clubs, making teams, players, all of this. It was really personalized, a really fun thing to do, and really changes up the dynamic of everything. But now that's all gone, and it shows us what could have been, how it could have been utilized even more. But now we only have Creator Club, which is pretty limited, and there could be so many better features in it. But moving on to the 6th point, and from this point forward it's a lot of Ultimate Team style stuff. Something I can't believe they changed and binned was trade offers. Something I absolutely adored. I mean, it was an interesting and exciting way to trade on the market, to interact with the marketplace. It spiced things up, and when you think about Ultimate Team, it is ultimately a card trading game. So when you think about Pokemon cards or match attacks, the primary way that people acquire new cards is obviously via packs or trades, people giving up their duplicates or cards they no longer need to try and get a good offer that really suits what they're looking for. If they brought this back, it would add another level to the game. We'd then have SBCs, coins, packs, and of course trade offers, different things that just really spice up the game. It is something that was taken out for a pretty valid reason. There was a huge problem with coin selling and account hacking, but if EA invested and worked on a state-of-the-art anti-cheat system, kicking out people that are exploiting the game for these reasons, I would love to see this return, so we have a more interesting and full experience, and it just changes things up a little bit on how you could acquire new cards. But moving on from that, we need to move on to point 7, and this is something I would love to see return, and that's the World Cup Ultimate Team. Now, FIFA 14 and FIFA 18 had these specific modes. There were new cards, the different mechanics came from clubs basically becoming nations, and then what was usually the nations became continents, and it meant you could link a whole different variety of players in an interesting way. It brought forward a different style of pack opening, it brought forward a different style of squad builder. Everything around it just changed. There was a hype about the game in a period where the game generally dies off, and I would love to see this return. It is something that during the FIFA 22 World Cup in Qatar, we had a limited time sort of mode where you got cards for a short period of time during the tournament. They went into your standard Ultimate Team, but I have to be honest, it just didn't hit the same. There was a World Cup mode offline, you couldn't really do a lot with it. It was really a miss from EA that they took this out. Those modes really do slap when they come out for the short period that they're available, and I would love to see them come back. Hopefully by 2026 in the US, Mexico and Canada, we get a new version of that to bring forward this beautiful experience. I love it when this comes out, and it just changes the dynamic of the game once again. But moving on to our 8th point, and this is something EA have done over many years to ruin the game rather than one feature that's just been pulled out, and that is a change to the FIFA experience through their change of approach to the promos, the packs, and then the power curve. Now, there are so many things that I could go into about this, so many problems that I could address. I could probably make a 15-minute video about just this topic, but one that really stands out for me is the way that Ultimate Team seems to have been fully tailored to the competitive side of gaming. Rivals, foot champs and drafts are just not as fun as they used to be. And for me, I preferred the old division system, 10-game seasons. You fought for either survival, not to be relegated, get promoted, or to go up as a champion. And it was just interesting. It kept things fresh. You had 10-game situations to try and improve your position, and you got coins for getting promoted. I think that's a fair trade. But the system that we have now is that you have to play so many games each week just to get the best rewards, to keep up with the power curve if you're not spending money. And it is so difficult to really put together a team and play the experience without having to sweat every single game. I mean, when I look back at a previous FIFAs, it wasn't about trying to just win every game. Of course that was important, but really the experience was about trying to find the next hidden gem as a card. It wasn't all about ratings, and a lot of legends of the FIFA series were even silver or bronze cards. It was so much more fun, interesting. Squads were different. I feel so many squads are exactly the same now, especially with evolutions and how meta maybe one card will be. It's just not the same, sadly. I mean, S-Fine, Abarbo, Javinho, Dumbia, El Shaarawy, Kelvin, Maicon Liete, Felipe Santana, Emre Moore, Akinfenwa, and I could go on. These became legends of FIFA because it was all about fun, and it feels like that experience has just gone. FC 26 did seem to address the power curve slightly in a recent interview between the Foot Accountant and Foot Economist, but I highly doubt they'll move away from special cards being the way to have the best team, as they need people's bank accounts to siphon from. My view is we don't need a new promo every week, and 20 packs in the store is just outrageous. I remember when a 15k pack came into the store, and that was unbelievable hype. That was so interesting. That was actually meaningful. But now the game's got mental. We're never going to get back that old school FIFA style, which I absolutely hate. But sadly, this is what we've got to work with. I never can play FIFA for the entire year anymore like I used to. But hopefully, if they make the right changes, that can change. Because I used to absolutely adore Ultimate Team. Now, don't let my points in the last section make you believe that I don't think the competitive side is important or it shouldn't have value, because it absolutely should. The best of the best should be rewarded. Foot champs should exist. Players should play for rewards and get what they want. I just don't want the competitive side to take over the entirety of FIFA. But something I would love to see back, and I can't believe was ever removed, is top 100 rewards. This was weekly and monthly rewards for the best of the best, where they got inform packs, team of the season packs during different times of the year, where they got tradable cards that they could either sell or use. And it is absolutely earned if you're the top 100 in the entire world. I can't believe that was ever taken out. It was a great piece of content during the midweek. You saw some of the interesting up and coming players that maybe you hadn't heard of before, showing their talents and starting to pick up these rewards as well. I would love to see this back. It's something that would really bring together the FIFA community. I get that there is a competitive side to it, but if it's kept in the competitive section, it's an absolute gem, and I would love to see it return. And the final thing I would love to see is a collection book, and believe it or not, you might not know this, this was in the first ever Ultimate Team experience in FIFA 09. You could basically store cards in a collection book, put together your binder, which is so much like match attacks and things like that when you were growing up. I would love to see this added. Now, most cards in the game become very useless at some point. They hold no value, they're not important, but to keep value in these cards, to keep value in acquiring cards or opening silver packs, bronze packs, things like that, I would love to see this situation where you can fill out a collection book, get rewards for completing leagues or teams or anything like that, whether it be coins, packs, players. It would just add a new dimension to the game. We've had a version of this in the past with League SBCs. They've become very shocking over recent years, but League SBCs used to be great. You submitted players from each team, 20 teams or anything like that, and you get an incredible card at the end of it, like a De Bruyne, like a Suarez, like a Giovinco. There were so many players from so many different leagues. It really spiced it up, and I would love to have it back. We need things like this, really large projects that you work on throughout the entirety of FIFA. This would be one of them. Please bring this back. I would love to see this edition. It's like a card trading game. It's like you're collecting match attacks. Bring it back, please. I would absolutely love to see a collection book experience. But that is the end of 10 things EA have done to ruin their own game. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have any ideas of other things, put them in the comment section below and I'll get those maybe put into another video. Also, a big thank you to our channel member, The Blundy. If you want to get involved and become a channel member yourself, hit the join button below and you'll get perks like badges and emotes. But if you've enjoyed, please do like and subscribe. It helps the channel out massively. I am going to leave this here though. Until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Have a lovely rest of the day and peace out.